Okay, hello everyone. Good morning. Please, can you confirm if you can hear me? I don't know if you can hear me.
Yes,
Yeah, I
I
can
can
hear
hear
you.
you. I can hear you as
So,
well.
We can
all
hear
right,
you. Good
thank you.
morning.
All right, so my name is Uju. Welcome to Crystal Digital. Welcome to Project Ideas Training. My name is Uju. I want to believe some of us might be familiar with this name on WhatsApp. Okay, so welcome to the training. We're going to be starting training now. Our virtual training is 4 days from Monday to Thursday, and then after that, we start our physical class. And I want to believe that we are all excited to be here. I want to believe that we're all happy to be here. Um, okay, so our trainer for today is Mr. Joseph. Taking us through graphic design, Adobe training, every other thing that we need to know. So please get ready. Bring out your pen and
Paper.
yes, your pen and paper, and please do us well to mute your mic so you don't distract the class. All right, thank you everyone, and we'll be starting shortly. If you have any question, please feel free to ask, or you can use the chat box or raise your hand using the reaction icon. So thank you everyone, and welcome to this section.
All right. Good morning, everyone. My name is Joseph, and I will be your facilitator and should I say tour guide for the next few days, taking you on the theory aspects of design. We're going to cover a wide range of topics from principles of design to the fundamentals of design to typography, color theory, imagery, and layouts and composition as well. You might ask, why is the theory aspect of design necessary? Why do we have to do all of this? Why do we have to learn principles of design, color theory, and the likes before we actually go into Photoshop or Illustrator or CorelDRAW and start really doing something, right? Um, I always say it's like a structure, every structure has a foundation. And so in design, the theory, the principles, the fundamentals, the typography, layout, and composition, all those things, they form the foundation of design. And as you all know, there is no building or there's no property that stands without a foundation. A property or a building standing without a foundation is likely to fall in a short time. So, right? So to get that foundation right, I will help you build that foundation in the next few days. Okay? So that you have a proper head start on what to do and what not to do, the do's and don'ts, the um, look and crannies, and every other thing in between when it comes to design. All right. So we'll dive in real quick. Give me a minute. Let me just share my screen with you. Yeah. Please let me know if you can see my screen. You could just signify by using the wave emoji or raise hands. If you can see my screen, let me know. All right, good. Okay, so thank you everyone. All right, so let's go straight into it. As you can see here, I have here with me understanding the principles of design. I already mentioned to you that design has a foundation, and for every foundation, there are layers, right? So there's like the first layer, second layer, and it keeps going up till you get the proper foundation right, and then you can start building. So for graphic design, principles of design help you to start up that layer. But before we go into the principles of design, I'm sure you're wondering, what is design in itself, right? So as you can see here on the screen, it is as simple as it is there. Graphic design is the use of text and graphics to communicate ideas visually. That's simple. And you won't find this definition anywhere else, is mine. Okay, so, but the use of text and graphics. So you're trying to put that into perspective. When you get like a text, let's say this text, graphic design, and then you use graphics. So now you're wondering, what does graphic entail? That brings to that talks about your images, your infographics, your vector files, and other options of graphics that you can add that can communicate your ideas, right? So now, what are the principles of design? Why do we need the principles of design? You might be wondering, principles of design sounds quite strict. No, it's not. It's not as strict as it sounds, right? I know when principles come in, you always think about discipline, but in design, the principles are they allow you to become as creatively free as you want to. So if you see a design, you might be wondering, okay, so how does these principles, how do they come in? Well, look at 7 principles that apply to class. Right? So designers over time have used the principles of design to shape their work, from building top elements of design to giving cohesion to their piece. When used successfully, these principles have the ability to transform designs, both aesthetically and in terms of performance. And like I said, it helps you to have a good design, right? So the first principle we'll be talking about is unity. Unity is a force operating within a design that gives the appearance of oneness. You could say harmony. It harmonizes the design. When you hear a choir sing or an orchestra, and there is soprano, tenor, bass, all the right elements of the different voices, it gives a very sweet, harmonizing sound to your ears. Same thing happens in design, and that's what Unity does, right? It ensures that there's no single part of the design that is more important than the other, because everything in the design is important. Hence, they are all there in the first place, right? Now, there's an author of the Elements of Design, Alex White. He explains that to achieve visual unity is the main goal of graphic design. When all elements are in agreement, a design is considered unified. What does it mean to be unified? Like I said earlier, to be harmonized, right? Now, this is unity. Unity has should I say, like a cousin called variety, right? Now, you can see on the image on the left side of the screen, unity shows same color. Variety shows different sizes. On the right side of the screen, you see same size, and variety shows different colors. So which means that they work hand in hand. So you can actually call them like a twin. Okay. Now, balance. I know when you hear these names, you're wondering what kind of names are this? But don't worry, you soon understand them. Also, I'd like to mention that some of these names that you see in the principles of design also appear in the fundamentals of design. It can also appear elsewhere. Sometimes they mean the same thing. Other times they mean different things in different perspective to where they appear, right? Now, never forget that every element is on the page could come from the size or texture. Just like you wouldn't put all the furniture in one corner of a room, like your house. You just put the sofa on the left, the couch on the left, the shelf on the left, the the desk, your work also on the left. Everything becomes crowded, and that part of the room becomes heavy. So what that does for you is to help you create defining between the weights of each thing and also in color, right? They are I just mentioned that. On the other hand, asymmetric uses opposite weights, like contrasting one large element with several smaller elements. So to create a composition that is not even, but still it's balanced, right? So symmetrical designs are always pleasing because everything is equal, but it becomes boring. So that's where asymmetrical designs play a role, right? Now, on the left image you can see on the screen, you can see the circles are symmetrically aligned. On the right, you can see that they are asymmetrical. Depending on the kind of project you're working on, each of them will come to play, right? If you're working on an image, on a project that requires to have faces of multiple people, you could go with symmetrical. But if you want to have a project that has image of one person and other items, you could go with asymmetrical. You see that the balance is coming into play and the principles are showing off. Now, the next one is hierarchy. I think hierarchy has to be the easiest because it is just as it sounds. Um, it just helps you put things into perspective from level of importance to least important item in your design, right? It just helps you rank your items, your elements in your design. And it's not really based on the design style, but it's just order of importance, like I said. Now, a good design leads the eye through each area of the design. In order of priority, it's designed to help the user complete an action and absorb information. I'm sure you've heard the saying that people read from the left to the right. So when you want to do your design on your project, you can start from the left to the right or from the top to the bottom. All you have to do is put the most important object up or increase in size as well, right? Now, this is a perfect example. You can see on the left image, there is no hierarchy. On the other image, there's hierarchy because you can tell that this right here is bigger than this. Compare to this or this. So you can just know that, okay, this is important. This is the first thing that will catch your eye because it's on a different color. That's how hierarchy works, right? The next one is contrast. I'm sure most people are familiar with contrast. You must have heard this before. The difference between two or more objects in a design is referred to as contrast. Even on this slide, you can see that there is white and there is a shade of red up there. That is contrast. The way the white sits on the shade of red and the way black sits on white is contrast. So it's mostly commonly associated with readability. You see that immediately you look at this slide, it is easy for you to read. Imagine if this shade of red here is gray and white text on it, it might become difficult for you to read. You might have to look closely or zoom in or maybe increase the lens of your glasses, But contrast helps you to put things in the right spaces, in the right blend, right? Now, the most important element, like hierarchy in design, is also contrast. Because a bright blue button on a stark white background with a lot of white space is considered high contrast. If the button was almost the same color as the background, or
We cannot hear you, sir. We cannot hear you.
Yes, we cannot hear you, please.
Okay. Yes, ma'am. In fact,
okay, sorry if you can hear me. There was a little glitch with my internet. Remember, we're still in a very interesting internet state wise, so my apologies. All right. Can you tell me the last thing you hear? Or the last thing you heard, rather?
You are talking about contrast as one of the
All right.
principles of design.
All right, thank you, sir. Okay, let's quickly get back to that. Okay. All right, so I was saying that when you hear make the design pop, or when you hear someone say this design pops, they're referring to contrast. Contrast is responsible for making it pop. Do you get? So don't be scared when the client say make the design pop. It's just trying to tell you add contrast, because it comes away from the page and sticks in your memory. Contrast creates space and difference between elements in your design. You could as well use a slide as a very good example for contrast, even for hierarchy, even for balance, even for unity, right? Your background needs to be significantly different from the color of your elements, so they work harmoniously together and are also what? Readable. Let's check an example of contrast. Look at this. Now, you can see the first one says contrast in shape, contrast in color, contrast in scale. Scale is just size. Contrast in layout. You can see that there's a symmetric and asymmetric layout there. But you can see that they are all balanced and there's unity, and you could also see hierarchy. Contrast is that right? Now, by size, weight, sometimes referred to as dominance. Emphasis might seem similar to contrast even. see, but it's not quite the same. Contrast deal with difference between two objects, and emphasis deals with the impact of an object. You get it? Now, to make it a little bit less confusing, you can use contrast to support the emphasis of an object, like placing a solid black sphere in a white background. Just the same way you have this text emphasis written on a white space. You get? Give me a minute. Now, a similar example is a long hallway or a corridor where your eye is drawn to the end of the hallway, which is unavoidably true. Then imagine a painting on a bright wall at the end. That would be your focal point. That would be the thing you see. Immediately you look up the hallway. The first thing you see is the painting, right? So emphasis helps you to create focal points. Now, take a look at the first image. You could easily spot out the red shape. Easily. You don't have to look for it. It's the first thing you see. It's also contrasting with the other image, with the other shapes, but it is emphasized with that color. Same thing for the second image. Same thing for the third image. So you get the idea now. Emphasis helps you give the audience a focal point. Okay. Now, one more thing. Scale. Scale is majorly just elements or examples. Can be used, you create focal points and helps us make sense of design or imagery. If you look at some certain images, especially a flyer, maybe the flyer for this class, if you remember, there's a picture of a guy big at one side of it and the text small at the other side. Scale. That's scale for you, right? So it just shows an object with accurate sizing, though it could be reduced or enlarged from its actual size. It just creates a way to depict objects as larger than life or bring them as smaller as possible. See, this is what it looks like. Size. See, we go from the smallest to the biggest. Then this is in ratio from, that's the second frame. Gives you like a form of ratio. The third frame is individual sizes, 60, 60, 20, 10. Then repetition. I'm sure you have noticed that the other principles have one or two things repeated. Symmetric imbalance has the same thing on both sides. Contrast has similar objects with different sizes or different color. Repetition. Emphasis, just one color, repeated around, right? But repetition, what it does majorly for you is the reoccurrence of an element. It's commonly utilized in patterns, the Ankaras that you wear, it's just one pattern repeated over and over till it covers the whole material. That becomes your Ankara. That same thing for Ashoke, the Adire, and the likes, right? Repetitive elements can be used in conjunction with other principles to create a design that leads a user's eye to a focal point. Just like I said, a repetitive element could be repeated lines, repeated shapes, repeated forms, repeated color, or even design elements. I'm sure if you look at the slides again, you will see that there is a repetition. Right? This is repetition. You can see there's repetition here, there is emphasis here, there is contrast here. Well, just to create a balance. Okay. Now, one of my favorite principles is white space. I'm sure you're wondering, everywhere is white. That's an irony because white space is actually not just white. White space can be black, white space can be blue, white space can be any color. Now, white space is also referred to as negative space. So imagine you're in a dark room and you can only see as far as where you are. The other spaces in that room are negative spaces. White space, right? As we call it in design. Now, the space is effectively empty. You know, like I said, it is not a useless space. It is not an abandoned piece of land on your design artboard. It is effectively empty, which means that it being empty creates balance. It being empty creates contrast. It being empty adds emphasis, hierarchy, repetition, all in one place in an empty space, right? Many beginners in design will feel the need to pack every element into their design until it becomes crowded. That's because they do not pay attention to white space. But white space serve a lot of importance in design and a lot of purposes as well. Foremost, being given elements of the design room to breathe. You see this space is all white and everything is breathing. That's the work of white space. Negative space can also help you highlight specific content or specific parts of a design. With this, I could easily do, let me show you something real quick. See, I could decide to add more lines. Now, it will become too much. So white space plays a very big role. Now let's look at an example of white space. Look at this. Take a look at this. This is a perfect example of white space is not white. You can also see that it is effectively empty. In fact, I think Apple uses white space a lot. They are one of the brands that cherish a lot of white space. I have a fellow designer friend that calls white space for this.
We can't hear you again.
Can you hear me? Can you
Yes,
hear me now?
now. Yeah.
Your audio is breaking.
There is no video or audio again.
We can barely hear you now. The network is kind of breaking.
You're off. You're off. We can't.
We can't hear anything again.
I guess his internet is very bad.
He's disconnected already.
Okay, I'm sure you can hear me. Sorry
Hello,
for that.
Joseph. I hope you've not been talking because we can't hear you.
Yes, we can
No,
hear
no,
you
no,
now.
no, no.
Say something now.
I'm back now. I'm back. I'm back. I'm
Yes,
back.
you're welcome
You can
back.
hear me. Thank you
Yes,
so
welcome
much.
back.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, so let's get back into it. We stopped okay. So yeah, white space, right? And I will show you this beautiful image. So I will show you more examples of all of this, right? We even put them into practice. Now, after all I've said and all you've seen, I'm sure you have a different perspective when you look at a design or probably a communication right now. And you might be wondering, why do these principles matter? It's simple. Every piece of design work is made up of elements and also the principles. So when you combine those principles correctly, like I showed you in the previous image, when they are properly used, it commands attention and it's hard to ignore. The design guides your eye through the story, keeping you visually entertained and engaged. Simple example right here, right? Straight to the point. You can see the message. You can see the emphasis. You can see the contrast, the white space, everything you need. And sometimes not all the principles will play in a design. Like here now, we cannot really see repetition, even though there is a blue color in two places, which is still repetition as well. Do you get? So all the principles can come to play in one design, in a single design. So that is why they matter. In fact, you might be designing and not actually knowing that, oh, these things matter before, but right now, it will give your designing a new perspective. You look at design differently because you understand these principles one after the other. Okay? So if you have questions as regards to the principles, you could drop them in the chat box and we'll get to them. We're about to go into the next session, which is the fundamentals of design. So I'll give 2 minutes. If there's no question, then we'll move on straight ahead. Or you could just keep all the questions till the end of the class. Then we run through, we just run through the questions straight up. I think that's fine. Okay, so Fundamentals of design. Now you probably are wondering, principles, fundamentals. What next is Joseph going to spring up on us? Truth is, I'm not springing it up on you. I'm using these tools to guide you to see, should I say, see rightly. So now, the fundamentals of design are the very foundation of every visual medium, from fine art to modern web design. Fundamentals are very important. They are even present in the seemingly unimportant details, like the font, this composition. Now, let's go into what fundamentals are properly. What do these examples have in common? Some very basic elements, including line, shape, form, texture, and balance. These are the fundamentals of design. They might not seem like much to you on their own, but when you put them together, they are part of almost everything we see and everything we create. Now, the fundamentals can be, I know they might look intimidating, of course, especially if you don't consider yourself as an artist. For those of us that went to art school, we already understand these things because we use lines in drawing, shading, shapes, texture, form. We do all of that. But you don't have to be an artist. You don't have to go to art school to understand these fundamentals or these principles. That is why I'm here to help you, like, bridge the gap. Okay? But keep an open mind. There's a lot that you can learn from these fundamentals when you're creating designs from scratch. Let's dive in real quick. The first fundamental is line. As you can see, it's just line. But it becomes more than just line when you see it in different forms. Straight line with an arrowhead, dashed lines, wavy lines, or a line that has two dots at the end. A line is a shape that connects two or more points together. It can be fat, it can be thin, it can be wavy, it could be jagged, and the list is endless. But every possibility gives the line a slight different feel. Look at this. Lines appear frequently in design, even all the time. In drawings, illustrations, they're also common in graphic elements like texture, patterns, and backgrounds. Remember, we talked about repetition in the principles. Repetition comes to play yet again with the use of lines to create this pattern just above the image you see. On hand, it could be used for more corporate compositions as well. You see that this is an organizational chart where you want to say the CEO to the manager to the salesperson. It goes on like that. Line helps you create that balance and tells you this line comes before this, and from this comes this, just like the branch of a tree. It helps you connect where your eye should go next. From here, okay, I should go this way, okay, this way, okay, this way, okay, up. Line plays that role. Remember, I said it could be thick, which is fat. It could be colored. It could have a texture. It could be wavy. When working with lines, pay attention to the things like the weight, the texture, have great impact on the way your design is perceived. The next thing is shape. With a recognizable boundary. You see that line connects two dots. Shape has a boundary, which means whatever is inside that shape cannot really go out. So we have examples of shape, circles, squares, triangles, the trapezium, and the like. Shapes are so important because they are the foundation of so many things. They are the foundation of so many things. We'll get into that real quick, but let me show you this. Learn to look for them in other designs, and you soon start seeing them everywhere. You will notice that there are shapes everywhere and there are lines everywhere. Now, see, we have two kinds of shapes: geometric and organic. The geometric shapes are the ones we know, create them with an hand. You could create an organic shape, but still know that it's a shape as long as it has a boundary. If one of these organic shapes that you see here, if one of them had, let me do this. If one of them went this way and stops, this is not considered a shape. This is a line. Simple reason is because it is not having a boundary. If it has a boundary like this is a shape. This becomes a shape. This becomes an organic shape. I'm sure you get it now. Now you can see that shapes are everywhere you look. I'm sure yesterday, today, tomorrow, you will see and you have seen traffic signs. You have seen these icons on your phones. You've seen this in museums or online or anywhere. You've gone through a website this morning, even on WhatsApp, even on Snapchat, even on Instagram. The shapes everywhere. The circles, the squares, the rectangles, trapezium, polygons, name it. Shapes are a vital part of communication. They give images heft and make them recognizable. See, we understand street signs and symbols and even abstract art largely because of shapes. The street sign is made of shape. Shapes have rather a surprising number of uses in everyday design. It can help you organize or separate content. They can create simple illustrations or just add interest to your work. See if you can spot the many examples in the image below. Okay, so now let's do this together. In the comments, in the chat section, tell me how many shapes you can see in this image here. This one. This one. How many shapes you can see? Somebody say sugar cube. Okay, that's one. Okay, cube is one. Yeah. What other shapes can you see? Circle for orange. Yeah. Five. Okay. Five would be cube, circle, rectangle. There is circle is repeated twice. Cube is repeated 3 times. So which means that there's circle, there's cube. There's a rectangle. Somebody's seen 7 shapes. Wonderful. Know that there are repetitions there, okay? Anyway, so 12. I don't think it's shape of anyway. Remember, there's repetition. I can see cube 1. I can see this circle 2. There's a circle here as well. In the circle, there are cut sizes, which is another shape. There is the glass of whatever the person was drinking, right? There's rectangle, of course, the page. Okay, so let's continue. Well done, everybody. Okay, the next one, form. This is very interesting. When a shape becomes 3D, 3D means 3-dimensional, and 3-dimensional means you can see all sides, right? We call it a form. So every 3-dimensional object has a form, including the human body. My hand has form. You see all sides, right? Same for my head. You can see all sides as well. Same goes for your mobile phone. Same goes for your laptop. Same goes for your furniture. Same goes for your gamepad, your mouse, you know? It could be a variety of things. Everything really has form. However, forms don't have to be 3-dimensional shapes. They can also be implied through illustration, which means that you could create form from flat objects and make it look 3-dimensional. That making it look 3-dimensional is the illusion created by the designers. Some people say it's manipulation, you know, but that's the work of a designer. You sort of create that depth. You give it a perspective. In 2-dimensional design, form makes realism possible. So maybe there's a flat, this ball-shaped, red-shaped ball here was a flat circle. It's just flat, just the red circle. Adding shadow to it, adding light to it, and shading makes it 3-dimensional now that you can see. It even looks like it's floating in the air. Even images are less realistic. With that technique, they can still look good. Like this vector on the right-hand side here that says mom. Right? So form plays a role. It brings your line to life. It brings your shape to life. Now, in everyday composition, the purpose of form is the same, really. But on smaller scale, for example, just a simple shadow or a simple light beaming on an object or something else, just give a sense, just makes the objects feel like they're actually there. Like you can see on this menu here, the teacup, if you take off the shadow from it, it becomes flat. It almost becomes like it's floating. But with that shadow, you can tell that it's sitting on something. That's the touch of realism which form creates in our designs, right? The next one is texture. You see the 2 images here. This is a real life object up there. The one down is an illustrated version of that. Now, the artist did something very interesting. On the real one, he did not try to put his hand there. But on the illustrated one, you can see that there's a hand trying to touch that. Because if you touch this thing in real life, you get injured. But I mean, you can touch an illustration. So texture is the physical quality of a surface. Your palm has texture. Your clothes has texture. Your desk has texture. Your laptop, your phone, your couch, your wall in your house. The road has texture. And texture works like form, so it can be a part of a three-dimensional object and also a two-dimensional. The examples you see here show you texture. The texture on the real one shows you that this thing, if I touch it, is detrimental to me. The texture on the illustrated one shows you that this is a beautiful pattern. Texture. So you could actually use texture to illustrate what a real life object will look like in an illustration. Just like we see it. It's the same on both images, right? Now look at this. In design, texture adds depth to flat objects. You see this carpet with the head of a wolf or something. If we take out texture from it, we take out this black underneath the jaw, underneath the upper jaw, we take out the tongue, which is the other color in there. Everything will just become flat, as you can see. But you can see that there's a texture on this. There's a texture on this. There's a texture on this wall. There's a texture on this as well. There's a texture on the wood here. There's a texture on the rug here. So texture can appear smooth. It can be smooth. I'm sure you've used the word before, smooth texture. Hard, rough, or even soft. So it depends on the element at play, which means it depends on you. What kind of texture do you want to give it? Do you want it to be grunge? Do you want it to be a little soft or hard or a bit rough? Excuse me. See, as everything in life, too much is bad. So in design, too much is bad. I'm sure with this example now, as you're looking at it, you are remembering that banner you saw in your street 2 days ago that was almost entering your eyes with too much color. This is the example on the right side of the screen. This is the example. Too much of everything is bad. Look at the right image. There's texture on the background, and then the shape covers that and gives it contrast. Why placing emphasis on the information right there? But if you go overboard, too much texture in a single design can quickly become overwhelming, like we see here. Texture on the background, texture on the shape, texture on the text, texture on the icons, texture, 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 and we have a very, 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 very not so very good looking design. I'm sure if you have to pick, you pick the first one. Even though some people might pick this other one, I will not blame them. They need creative deliverance. But yeah, in the meantime, don't use too much texture. All right. Every of the elements we talked about, the fundamentals rather, every of them that we mentioned, do not put them everywhere in your design. They come into play. You can see that on my slides, I have lines. You can see the line in the middle. Some of them have lines. Some of them don't have. See the dark background and the color text, creating emphasis. I'm using these things as minimal as possible. and yet still communicating. I'm sure that even if you have maybe an issue with your eye, you still be able to see these slides with ease. You'll not be wondering, what is this Joseph guy doing? He wants to blind my eyes. No, I have you in consideration because why? I want to visually communicate to you. Hence, you see my slides are carefully thought out and carefully placed with each principles and fundamentals that I'm showing you so far. I don't want to be the person practicing what they preach. I am preaching what I practice, as you can already see. I practice these things that I'm telling you, and you see them. That is why I'm telling you, and that's why it's easy for me to communicate them to you, because they have become a guiding path to my design journey, right? Now, balance appearing again in the fundamentals, just like it appeared in the principles. Remember, I said and as we can see here, it looks like balance is the same. Balance is the equal distribution of visual weight. More specifically, how much the visual eyes, the viewer's eyes rather, balance can be affected by negative space, it's the same thing we explained in the principles. So to master balance, it might be a bit tricky for beginners. I mean, it was a bit tricky for me too at a point. But the design world is full of examples. Trust me, I'm an ambassador of Pinterest, unknowingly to them. Everything you need with design example is on Pinterest. This is not an advert. They did not pay me for this. But I'm telling you this because it will help you, right? You're wondering, okay, how do I find balance? I'm trying to make a flyer. Go on Pinterest. Check for flyers of other people and use that example to create yours. You might be saying, I want my design to be original. I don't want to copy. There's something called stealing like an artist, where you copy elements from different designs and bring them together into yours. Did you hear what I said? You copy elements from different designs and bring them together. Okay? You don't have to copy verbatim. Express it in your own words. It's just like what I'm saying to you now. So I'm explaining balance to you. When you want to explain it to someone else, I'm sure you will not say like I did. You say, do you understand it? That's how it is in design. So, okay. So, balance helps you to create that in your design, right? It could be different iterations. Now, look at this. Symmetrical designs are the same on both sides. There are no difference. There are no difference. Then they feel balanced because each side is effectively the same. Like this picture you see here is balanced. Each side is the same. There is no, this object is on this side and another object on the other side is equally distributed. So it is as for symmetrical. So there's asymmetrical, we'll get to that. But let's quickly do a recap. So while you're on this, can somebody tell me how many fundamentals have we talked about so far in the chat? If you want to speak, you could unmute yourself and speak. How many Somebody was asking what's the actual number of shapes.
5.
I can't tell you. Okay, we've talked about 5. Okay, can you list them?
Yes.
Can you list? Yes, go on.
Yes. Line, shape, form,
Line, shape, form,
balance.
texture, and
Then
balance.
line,
Great.
form,
Shape,
texture, and balance.
form, texture, balance. Perfect. Okay. So now, do we have different? How many kind of shapes do we have? Rather, how many kind of shapes do we have? I'm not saying the types. I'm saying the kind. How many kind of shapes?
We have 2. Geometric and
Okay.
organic. Geometric and organic.
Geometric and organic.
Yes.
Great. Please, who is speaking?
Yes, my name is Olashupo Adesina.
Who is speaking, please? I'd like to know.
Olashupo Adesina is my name.
Sorry, I didn't get that.
Olashupo Adesina.
Olashupo Adesina.
Yes.
All right. I can call you
Adesina,
Adesina.
yes, simply. Adesina, yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. You're doing so great. 2 kinds, geometric and organic. Yeah. Okay. So who can tell me the difference between the geometric and organic? Another person. Mr. Additional, hold on.
The geometric are the regular shape that we know. Just like in our
The
mathematical
geometric are the regular shape that we know. Okay,
while
hold
the
on a bit.
organic shape are the okay.
Hold on. Okay, so let's do it this way. I want to speak, right?
My name is Ajay Olumide.
Olumide. All right. Go on.
Yeah. So the geometric shapes are the regular shapes that we know, just like we're having our mathematical shapes and the likes. While the organic shapes are the self-created. They could be, in my own understanding, my literal understanding, they are self-created shapes. So that's just the simple
they are.
answer I can get to it.
And that's a very good example because they are actually self-created. Amina said the geometric shapes have borders while the organic shapes do not have borders. Not quite. What makes it a shape is having a border. Remember, I did that drawing on my screen. If it doesn't have a border, it's like a boundary. If it doesn't have that boundary, it is not a shape. So if 2 lines try to meet and they get to a point and they didn't meet, it becomes a line until they meet before it becomes a shape. Okay. Okay. So that was a very good example. Now, the principles of design. Who can remember what I said they are used for and why they're important? Principles of design. Is that question too hard? Okay, let me make it a bit easy. How many principles of design did we touch on?
We talked about 8 principles of design.
8.
No,
Okay, name them.
More than
We talked about unity.
It's more than 8. Okay, unity. Go on.
It's 8 actually.
Sorry, if you're not speaking, please stay muted. Okay, unity, balance. That's 2. Go on.
Hierarchy.
3.
Contrast.
4.
Emphasis.
5. Sorry, I didn't hear that.
Scale.
Scale. 6. Go on.
Repetition.
7. Go on.
And and white balance.
White space.
White space. Yeah, sorry, white
8.
space. 3. Yeah.
Yes. Great. 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 Okay. Oluchi, thank you. So, Oluchi, can you tell me the difference between contrast and emphasis? Thank you so much, Adibol Manuel, for that. Oluchi has disappeared. You can tell me. Okay, Olusegun, go on. The difference
Okay,
between contrast and emphasis.
okay. Contrast is that's the balance between two color. I'm using balance again now. That's like when we have black on
Yeah,
white
go on.
or red or white on red. So the contrast helps to pop. It helps the image, what we want to read, to pop out. That contrast. Emphasis helps for image, the focal point of an image. For example, a red dot, or a red dot in the midst of pattern images. So the red dot has, for example, it has repeated images, but the red dot is emphasized. The eyes is focused on the, it's emphasized. I'm using emphasize also too.
Yes, that's the word. You are correct, actually. Shegun,
Thank you,
correct. Thank you. Oluchi came back and she says, emphasis deals on impact of an object, while contrast deals with color and shape. Okay, I'll say 80,
Hello,
80
hello,
over
let me.
100. Prince
Okay.
says, just a
I
minute,
want
hold
to.
on.
Okay.
If you want to just put your hands up so that I'll ask you to speak so that we can have order. Thank you. Okay, so let me quickly read these answers. Prince says contrast is the difference between two or more objects. Yes, in a design. While emphasis is the impact. It's as if Prince just carried the words exactly as I said it and put it there. I like what Timothy says, that emphasis is the focal point. I like to use that word, focal point. Okay, who was that wanted to speak? Go ahead. Please, your name, then speak.
Okay. Good morning. My name is Mufta Yusuf.
Mufta, yes, you can speak.
Yeah. Okay. So, in a simple way,
Good morning,
how you
Mufta.
explained it earlier is that construct is a way to draw attention to a part of a composition. Why emphasis is what make that part stand out.
I like that. I like that. That's also a very good point. Help you stand out while you're also drawing attention. Good. Any other person? Okay. Can somebody explain white space? Imagine that you are the instructor, or should I say facilitator, and I am you, because I'm obviously thinking that it is just a white space. I'm listening.
Based on what you taught us, based on what you explained to us, I believe white space is the empty
Who
space.
speaks, please?
Okay, Ramsin Habib Saba.
Ramsin. All right. Go ahead, Ramsin.
So white space is the empty space that is found on a design. Yeah.
white space, the empty space is found on the design. So yes, it is empty. The question is why? Why is it empty?
Because it's when the design is
To speak, go ahead, please.
Okay, thank you. So what I wanted to say was that white space helps you to focus on the main or the important part of the design.
Sorry, I didn't get that. Come again. It helps you to
White space helps you focus on the important aspect of the design, so you don't
helps
lose
you
focus.
focus on the important aspect of the design. That's a very good one. Teresa wants to speak. Go on. Hold on, guys. All the guys are speaking. Let ladies speak. Oh yeah, Teresa, go.
White space can be any space. It can be any color, can be black, blue,
Good.
yellow, and so on. And it's also referred to as a negative space. It's a space between text, graphics, images, and blocks, which highlights the content of the design.
Seems like you wrote down everything that was on my slides. But that was a
No,
good
I
answer.
didn't write down.
That
I
was a good
just
answer.
jotted the main point.
Okay, good. That was on point. Before additional goes, I would like to, before you speak rather, I would like to read a few answers here from somebody's name. Here is iPhone. Who is iPhone? What is your name? Please write your name on your answer so that I can read it. But I'll come back to it anyway. Ajibola Emmanuel says white space or negative space refers to the empty or unoccupied areas between and around visual elements in a design. Mostly, it brings out the uniqueness of the shapes and color. That's a very good way to put it. Who is V2026? Your name, please. Even though I like what you say, you're okay. Adeban Ola Subomi says white space is the area between design elements. It is also the space within individual elements, including space between typography, readable characters. Okay. Despite its name, white space does not need to be white. White space is actually never white. It can be any color, it can be any texture or a pattern. Pattern, we'll revisit that. But yeah, you're correct. V2026 doesn't have a name yet. So, okay, Mr. Additional, go ahead.
The summary of the white space, as you taught us this morning, is an effective space that makes use of all other elements. Did you get that?
Yes.
The summary of white space, as you have taught us this morning, is effective space that makes use of all
an effectively empty space.
Yes, that makes use of all other elements.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that. Good. Okay. So the next thing, I want somebody to touch on principle that we talked about. So can somebody tell me, what did we say unity is? I want somebody that have not read their answer or haven't heard them speak. Somebody entirely different. So, Mr. Not Ramsey, no. Shegun, no. Amna, no. Tisa, okay, even though Mufta, you will not be allowed to speak. But the question is, tell us what unity is. Unity is the first principle of design that we talked about. What does unity mean as a principle of design? Prince, you're not speaking. Ajibola, Emmanuel, and the rest of you that have been answering these questions, stay. Hold on for a bit. Let's give other people a few minutes and see if they are really part of this class. Unity, we're waiting for the rest of you to answer the question for us. Adebenga. All right, speak, please. Benga, you can unmute and speak.
Please, can you hear me? Okay.
Yes, I can hear you. I can hear you.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. In my own terms, I would say unity has to deal with how different elements of an artwork or design work comes together and creates a sense of wholeness, as in togetherness. Thank you, sir.
Good, good. That's a very good one. Abdul Wahab, you see, more people are appearing. Abdul Wahab says, unity ensures visual harmony and variety. Perfect, perfectly said. Collins says, unity is the force that gives oneness to a design, means harmonizing the design elements. Also great, also great. Adebanjo, the iPhone, says, unity is the agreement, I like that word, between images, shapes, texture, etc. to make images visible and attractive to the viewers. Okay, I think you missed it a bit down there, but it is the agreement of objects in the design, really. Adeleke says, unity equals harmony and balance between the elements used in a composition. Very good. Even though Olushi didn't want to speak, she still spoke. Unity is a force operating within a design that gives it yes, or resolution. I don't think you needed that last word, resolution, but oneness is good. Bukumi says unity is the agreement between image shapes to make. Bukumi, did you copy the same things someone else already said here? Yes, you did. Anyway, it's correct. You're correct. One last recap before we move forward. So now I want us to talk about hierarchy. Let's talk about hierarchy. Anybody can answer. If you want to speak, raise your hand and you speak. If you're typing, go ahead and type. Amjad says unity refers to how different elements of an artwork come together and create a sense of wholeness. Very good, very good.
Hierarchy is like the arrangement of objects in their order of importance.
I love it. I think with that answer now, I should re-edit my slide to what you just said because that was spot on. Additional, wanted to say something?
Yes, that's been said, but that's the ranking of all the elements in order of priority or importance.
Very good, very good, very good, very good. I'm really proud. I'm really proud of all of you. You are on fire. Okay, let me read one last answer and then we'll move on. Says here, hierarchy refers to the organization and prioritizing of visual elements to guide a viewer's attention and create a clear visual flow. Good one, Ajibola. Very good one. Hierarchy is placing the elements in order of importance. Straight on, Abdul Wahab. Thank you. Sulaiman says hierarchy refers to the organization of an arrangement of visual elements in a composition to create a sense of order, importance, and emphasis. Very good. It is a way to visually rank the design elements. Good one, Timothy. Okay, so that would be the end of that recap session for now. Let's move forward. So we are talking about balance as regards to fundamentals of design. And we stopped at symmetrical design, which, as you can see on the screen, just shows you how everything is equally aligned on each part of the design, even though it's not identical, but it's the same alignment, the same arrangement rather. Now let's look at what asymmetrical looks like. What asymmetrical looks like. You can see asymmetrical designs are not the same information on both sides, and obviously there is a very big difference. But the weight is evenly distributed because, of course, the stuff on the left side of the screen is way bigger. This right here is way heavier than this on the left, right? It is as simple as it looks. I'm sure by now everybody should understand balance because I mean we're talking about it for the second time. But let me say it the way we say it in church. When something is being communicated to you more than once, let's say like twice or more, it means that that thing is very important, right? So now that we talked about balance in principles, and after several years of traveling down to the fundamentals, we still talking about balance again. It simply means that if you don't get your balance right, your design might actually have trouble. So in everything you do, as you are paying attention to the hierarchy, you're paying attention to the emphasis, you're paying attention to contrast. Even though contrast gives you a sense of balance, but balance is very important. If you miss balance, you might actually be missing a very big part of your design. Now, look at this. I'm sure if you are familiar with photography, you would have heard the term rule of third. In fact, for those people that use their phones to take a lot of pictures, you would have come across this grid on your screen, except you remove it from the settings, but it's there. It just helps you to understand where to place your image in a composition. It's a 3x3 grid. And imagine it just you create a balance. This is an example of balance, but she's talking about balance, so you understand. So this type of composition is appealing. Why? Because according to studies, the human eye naturally flows from this part when scanning a design. So you see that the first image shows you the grid and the grid lines, then the drink, right? In the next image, you can see that that image is already totally composed, like the composition is done, and it's even in a frame. Framed it. The person loved this so much and actually put a frame to it. I'm sure it's hanging somewhere in the bedroom, but you get the idea. What I'm trying to explain to you now is it's your eye, when looking at this, flows from the left to the right, which is very easy to achieve because of rule of third. So apart from balancing your composition and elements symmetrical or asymmetrically, remember rule of third. Rule of third is very important. Remember rule of third. Even on this design, the slide, rule of third is in play. Rule of third is always in play, whether you know it or not. Whether it is right or wrong, it is always in play. Now, let's put all the fundamentals together. The fundamentals of design are about the bigger picture. They help you, in other words, to appropriate the many small details that make up every composition. Remember lines, shapes, forms, texture, balance. Let's go back a bit. Let me show you something. Look at this. You can see the first element, fundamental rather, is line. The next is the triangle shape. The next is form, the spherical shape, and texture on the square. But did you notice balance is like a scale down here holding them together? You see? Balance was not shown in a different form. Instead, balance helps you to balance the other fundamentals together. Now, let's move forward real quick. We're putting it all together, right? These insights in bringing all these little details together can be applied to almost any type of project. I've said this before. Whether you are creating your own graphics or you're looking for simple ways to enhance your work, remember the principles and the fundamentals. Now, the bigger picture. This is all the fundamentals in play. Shape, form, balance, texture, line. You can see the fonts we use are made up of lines. It could be thick line, it could be smaller, it could be slim, tiny lines, or it could be rough lines. But you can see this is everything. Now, some examples in real life, some real life examples. As you can see, on these designs you're seeing, there are elements, and should I say elements? They are fundamentals, rather, and principles of design in play. So now, the class is about to get very, very interesting because we're about to speak to each other and interact. You're not just going to be hearing me talk again from now. But remember, if you want to speak, and at this point, I want everybody to speak, more of speaking than writing. But if you are in a noisy place, of course, go ahead and write, right? So now, looking at this first image, how many principles of design can you point out? You tell me where they are. I will use my my pen to draw it out. So let's go. The first image that says embrace the week ahead with positivity and purpose, and has a guy in suit with his briefcase, of course, his laptop bag, on a skateboard. All right. Amina Yusuf, let's go.
Okay, so I think that is hierarchy. So the words embrace, positivity, and purpose are in a bigger font to lay emphasis on those particular words.
Okay. First, you said hierarchy. This word embrace has its own function, but keep going.
So
that's it.
The color of embrace is different from positivity and purpose. I guess because embrace is the main word or the most important words of the entire sentence you have in that font.
Emphasis, yeah. Okay. Thank you. Obviously says the shape in the skateboard. Yes. In fact, the skateboard has texture as well. It also has form. Looking at it, it has texture, it has form as well. Ajay Emmanuel, go on.
Thank you, sir. Okay, so first I'm seeing repetition from the logo. The logo is having this kind of red block. So they embrace, the and they are all repeating the color from the logo.
The color.
Yeah.
Very good.
And then
very good.
In terms of thank you, sir. In terms of hierarchy, we can see the logo is placed above every other thing to represent the company. And then the text, and then the repetition also down there is also kind of placing the man above positivity and purpose, kind of trying to show that everything is possible. So there's hierarchy and repetition. Thank you, sir.
Very good. Very good. Thank you. Thank you. Daniel, please go ahead. Daniel.
Okay. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Hello. Good morning. Can you hear
me? Yes. Good morning, Daniel. I can hear you. Go ahead.
There is also balance, like among the principle of design. There's also balance. You can see everything is there's this construct between colors, images, and the wordings that that gives a perception of message, that give a right perception of the message as in what the message is passing across, and so on. So I can feel balance in all the wordings matching up with the images, with the backgrounds and everything.
Very good, very good, very good. Contrast in colors and balance. Go ahead. Timothy says the design is on white space. It is not on, but it has white space. You get. So go on. iPhone. That's John. Go ahead. I can hear you.
We have the line here.
Second, after Adebanjo, you speak. Okay, Adebanjo, we are listening to you.
We have the line behind this input. The facts line.
Line?
Yes. And the texture. The
line behind which of the symbols? Oh, the skateboard, rather. Okay, go on. Yeah, the texture. That's two. Go on.
Activity, purpose is balanced, and there's a texture in it.
Good, good, good. Thank you. Remember, we are talking more on the principles before the fundamentals, but if you keep it coming. Okay, Shegun, go ahead, speak.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you,
so
Adebanjo.
Raise the week ahead with positivity and purpose. So there's hierarchy. And another thing I can see there is contrast. So there's a black on the surface of kind of off-white. So it helps to pop out the, in fact, the black and red that is used pops out the message very well. Hello? 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 It seems the network is...
Yeah, I think
his network is there. So,
okay, the network, okay. Okay, we'll just hold on. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm back. Now let me get back to the screen.
Okay.
I'm sure you can see my
yes,
screen.
Yes, we can. I can see. Can you hear me?
Okay. Second, you're done, right?
Yes.
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, so I said contrast. So there's a contrast of the use of the color, that's red and black.
Unity and purpose and contrast also helps message. The unity is between the font. There's also unity between the background and the colors. You know, unity also works with colors. So, okay. So moving to the next image, you see the one that says now selling. So tell me, first, let's highlight the principles. We'll come back to the fundamentals, okay? So let's focus on the principles first. Principles. Let's know if there's unity, contrast, there's hierarchy, if there's white space, if there's emphasis, right? Now let's go. All right. Adeban just says, now selling is balanced. Yes, it's just like the example I showed you a few minutes ago. Just the difference is the image for that one is on the left, the text is on the right. For this, the image is down, the text is up, which is very good. I can see 3 hands up, but it looks like the same hands from earlier. So if you are raising your hand and you've spoken, please take it down so that I would know if you're not. Right? Okay, good. Daniel, you want to speak? If you want to speak, you raise your hand, then I'll ask you to mute, okay? Daniel, are you speaking?
No, sir. No, sir.
Okay, your hand is raised. You drop it now.
Okay, sir.
See that. Okay. The man just says there's a line on the road and we have a lot of dot line. Yes, so for the lines that are fundamentals, we'll get to that. For now, let's deal with the principles. Can you see hierarchy? Can you see balance? Can you see unity? Can you see scale? Can you see the other one, emphasis? Can you see emphasis? Ajibola, go ahead and speak. The houses are also balanced. Of course.
Okay, thank you, sir. I think I can see contrasts. Yeah. Because I'm trying to look at the sky and then the houses. There is a vast difference between them. So it's like the houses are contrasted while the sky is not. Thank you, sir.
Good. Yes. Because there's no way your house will look as the same as the sky. If you paint it with the color of the sky you are seeing today, the sky that will appear tomorrow might be different. Anyway, yeah. Ajay Fuja, you speaking to us today?
Yeah, I've spoken before, but I raised up my hand again.
All right, go ahead.
Yeah, I could spot hierarchy and I could spot emphasis on the same word. Now selling.
Emphasis,
Now
yes,
selling.
now selling.
It is emphasizing that is what that is the key word there. Then on the hierarchical order of the design, I could spot it on the same now selling as well. Then another thing I can spot again. Another thing I can spot again is that same scale as well, the proportion. If you look at the name of the realtor or the company selling the land, the scale at which the name is written is is a smaller scale. So now it implies that the name of the company doesn't really necessary now, but what they are about doing is what is important. So yes, sir.
Very good, very good. Thank you. Who else? There are repetitions. Of course, the building has repetition. They are repeated. Repetition of color. Yeah. Where are all the ladies? Where did you people disappear to? Oluchi, Amina. Where are you people? Yeah, come and speak. Teresa, where are you as well? All right. More answers, more answers. We still have about 2 more images to go through before. But I want us to touch on the principle before we go to the fundamentals for this one. Matthew, please go ahead.
Thank you so much, Mr. Joseph. Mine is more like a question. Can I go ahead?
Okay. Even though we have the time for the questions and answer. Yeah, go ahead.
Because of the image. No, because of the image. Well, because we are talking about principle, and principle is all about things that must be in place for you to get the message you are passing on, things that you are designing. For the first design that was having embrace the weak eye with positivity and purpose, I discovered that the image is on the why. So would it not be that
the image
graphic?
Why?
Yes. Could we not say that the graphics was not perfectly done, or could we just say it is so? That is just my observation. Because if I'm designing and I'm presenting it, because this I want to believe that this is the finished project, and the image is resting on the why. Can I say that I've done a perfect job?
Yes. It's Tupac, and you know that Everybody Express is a popular show. Helps that sort of carries that every other person in the class. Be observing now because you mentioned it. Why are they just doing that? Because they read positivity. To see that that's a why. It has to be a why. They are the audience. I am the designer, right? And I've carried them along by giving them room to completement or complete the word. I know it's only majorly on the Y that has probably a B, this is an E. But you could also move the EasyWorks, touch the image, to see how you communicate not in isolation. So you can say, okay, this text is actually behind this guy, which means that the text is sitting on the wall. So it's purpose, or it's getting through, rather. So do you get it now? Did I answer your question, Mr. Matthew?
Yes, it's well noted. Thank you.
Yeah, we're back. Yes, you're not the only one not hearing anything. My very good internet is doing wonders this morning. Apologies for that. So the question I was asking, or the question I was answering, Mr. Matthew, I'm done with your question. I'm asking, are you clear on that?
Yes, yes. Thank you so much.
Good. I really appreciate that you brought that up. It was a very good one. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so people of God, back to it's now in play in the design, now selling. What fundamentals do you see in play? I'm listening. Raise your hands if you want to speak. Ajibola, go ahead.
Thank you, sir. So the first thing I could see is shape from the houses. If you look through very well, I could see rectangles, I could see square, and then I could see forms.
Fundamentals. First, I can see a yellow line on the road.
Good observation.
Then,
go on.
Yes, and then there are shapes, just like my brother said, the houses, and we can see the shapes and the forms as well, because the houses are in 3D. The trees, even the grasses, even the sky, everything I think about the design except for the line is 3D and the main road. Also, we can see texture, which is very clear from the grasses to the houses. The texture is there, and there is also a balance. So I think all the fundamentals are part of the design. Hello, sir. Are you there?
Is that Shegun?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so to corroborate what he said, he has actually mentioned basically almost everything. So the form on that's the houses, the form, the texture on the road, but the texture on the sky also too, the cloud. If there was no texture on the cloud, then it did not look like a cloud.
Very good, very good.
Then the balance, because you can see the way the houses, is well balanced from the repetition. So we can see from the left to the right, in contrast to the road. So all the even lines, the lines also, the line on the road.
Yeah, there are a lot of lines.
A lot of lines around it. Yeah, so that's it.
Very good, very good. If I mentioned the way you communicate it or the way you understand it is different. So even though they've said everything, speak in your own understanding. Okay, Mr. Matthew.
What stand out for me is the pattern.
You notice the pattern.
That's pattern. The grass is a very good pattern. In this image is the pattern of the building. It will not be right that okay, you are giving this is the pattern of what you want to be. Yes.
Good one. Thank you so much. Good morning, Marianne. Do you answer? Adeokun Ayomide, right?
Yes, sir. Good morning, sir. What I continue to follow? I think our lecturer is connected.
Okay.
Are you with me, sir?
I'm with you. Go on.
Okay. What I see there, first, there's a contrast there. The the first thing that captured the eye first was the now selling. So, which is they are trying to tell a story that the building at this front is what they are selling, and it's the road here explains that this building is closer to a let's say a federal road, so it is easy to see. So I think that's what they are trying to explain to us.
Very good. Very good. I like that part. Say the building is close
I would
to
like to
Federal
buy
Road.
that kind of house.
You two want to buy a house close to Federal Road. Okay. I think something I say sort of. So you mentioned that the now back of the building communicates that this building, these properties are selling now. Now, remember the definition I gave about graphic design. I said it will be, is a tool for communication, right? I said it's a tool for communication, and text and images are used to communicate. So if your design or your presentation or your slide is not communicating, it has failed and is no longer considered. Sure that this is a Monday motivation, communicating to you to embrace positivity and purpose this week, and also telling you embracing positivity and purpose. Remember to buy property that is selling and is close to Federal Road. So, in essence, what I'm saying is these designs that are in front of you communicate. They are communicating. If they don't communicate to you, you would not be able to understand them. What would have been happening would be, oh, just like what's going on here? What is this picture or what is this design trying to say? You would have been asking questions of what is going on here, what of, what if, what. But because it communicates to you seamlessly, you didn't even need to ask me what the design is talking about. You can even tell that we are selling properties on this one and we are selling motivation on the other one. That's your job as a designer. You don't have to be there to explain what your design or flyer or anything. You don't have to explain what it means. It should be self-explanatory. So one thing that you should go home with today or take with you is if a design does not communicate, failed. Period. Once it is not communicating, failure, failure, failure. All right. So we'll move to the next step. I see yes, yes, with this one. Next set of designs communicate to you, and if you can tell me the principles and fundamentals that you find in them. All right, let's start with the green image, the image on the right that has green. It's made up of a lot of green, right? So tell me principles and fundamentals. Where can you find this design? Because this is completely different from the other one. So Adeokun's hand is raised again. Ramsey, your hand is still raised. Is that the one from before? Matthew's hand. I see. Adebanjo, your hand is raised. Okay, Adebanjo, speak.
Okay. There is emphasis on a quality brand.
Emphasis on quality brands. Good. Go on.
And there are also repetition of color, like the yellow color is repeated twice.
Yellow color repeated twice. Go on.
And also the shape, and there's a line there, a dot line at the end in our vision, and there's emphasis on that vision. That is why.
Okay. Good. Emphasis on vision. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Timothy says you can see hierarchy, balance, contrast, and emphasis. So the Timothy, the thing about this question is, I don't just need you to tell me what you see. I want you to tell me where you see it. Okay? So if you're answering, tell me where you see it. And
yes.
Hello. Please, if you're speaking, who is speaking? I can't really tell who's speaking right now. Okay, Timothy, go on.
Okay. The hierarchies I saw hierarchy in font size. I saw some font size and the other one. So there's a form of hierarchy. And we also have the color balance. You see the green, the yellow, that has one form of balance. Even the green, form of lemon, is blending with the cloth the man is putting on. So it's a form of a balance in the color. Then we also have contrast, and that's what makes the and on object. You can quickly pick, even if you are reading from a distance. And apart from that, we also have lines. We have a form of we have a form of lines, the metric line, and the organic and the geometric lines are visible in the shape of the design.
Okay. Okay. Let me help you out a bit. So the can see different shapes and you can see different lines as well. There's even a line on the man's green clothes. The shirt is wearing has lines. The lady is wearing a dress that has Hello. Okay. Ajeni Fuja, go ahead. I don't think Matthew can hear me.
Yeah, on the on the picture on the right hand side that we're asked to check very well. Starting from the principle of design. So I'll start with the hierarchy. So I could see hierarchy in the text. So and I could also see emphasis. Emphasis and hierarchy, I could see the both on quality brands. So it is emphasizing that what they sell, yes, on that same word, quality brands. It's emphasized that they sell quality brands, and on the text font. So and the quality brand is showing the importance of the quality of that particular word on it. Then scale as well. There is scale on this. I could see scale in the fonts of the lettering. There is scale. Now moving down to the fundamentals. So on that same design, on the same image, I could see lines. So lines starting from the text up there, I could see line underneath our vision. Then even the name of the brand, there are lines there as well. Then down to the picture, lines, I could also see lines on the shirt the man is putting on. Now I'm going to shape. There are shapes on those shelves. The shelves in there, probably that should be the dining area or what have you. So that shape, the shape of I think that should be microwave I'm seeing, or refrigerated. I don't know. I couldn't. Both of them. Whichever. And then I could then I could see shapes of bottles. Shapes of bottles of all these can and the likes on the shelves there. Then also talking of the shape, self-created shape, we could see that on the clothes, on the attire the woman is putting on. So then what else can I say again on when I'm talking of the fundamentals? I think let me give room for others to say something as well.
Seems like you wanted to finish the class. You just said, Joseph, just chill. Let me help you a bit here. I already understand this thing. Let me take it from here. But thank you for that. Okay, Matthew, your hand is raised.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Joseph. Thank you so much. Going with the theme, we say we should go away with the which says that our flyer should be self-explanatory, our design should be self-communicating. So seeing the flyer on the right, you will see that what they are passing, even when it's not showing any of their products on the image, the emphasis is this is the vision, which is what it stands for. And that was why the vision is underlined. And what is the vision they are trying to pass to you is that they have quality brands. You know, that what they are selling as a company, and that is why their company is a square, is written in a square on the left hand side of the flyer. So if you also see the image is also complementing what they are standing for, because this is also quality. For you to be seeing the picture well arranged and the family seated in a arranged manner, it shows the quality that the company wants to sell to the customer. So yeah, so the flyer, even without seeing the brand, I mean the product they are selling, will make you to be curious to go and find out what product they are trying to offer. Thank you.
Exactly. That is profound. Thank you so much, Mr. Matthew. Thank you. So let's move to the other image. Now let's do it this way. All of you that just finished speaking, you are exempted. You are exempted from this one, so that speak. right, the image on the right, left rather, yellow background, green text, black text, mother and child or mother and son enjoying breakfast, perfect agege bread with butter. All right, tell me, Adeokun, go ahead and speak.
Okay, sir. The first thing that I was first noticed was the advertisement is
Sorry,
based
can you
on.
speak up a bit?
Okay, the advertisement is based on bread. So,
Thank you.
because it's based on them, it's
It's
based
based
on
on
butter. I
bread.
mean, bread and butter.
Thank
So,
you.
and the color that comes along with butter is yellow. So that's why we have that yellow color
Oh, wow.
coming down from there. So
I never
it
looked
shows
at
that
it like
yeah.
that, but that was a smart one.
So
Go on.
and because also the brand color is green, so there's a green color here, green color here. So everything is just to tell us that we are advertising a butter. So and eating the woman and the child here you can see them smiling. So the essence of them eating the bread, smiling is because they've applied the butter here, which makes it look very good. And but the major advertisement is just the butter at the small place there. So and the other thing is the emphasis that they use creating superior, that's the hierarchy of it, creating superior. So Africans
There's
brand that
hierarchy,
inspire
there's
consumer.
emphasis.
Yes, sir. So the alignment, centered alignment there.
Very good, very good.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much for that. Who else? Who else? Anybody else before we move to questions? Okay, so I think we'll move to questions now. Okay, Shegun. All right. Shegun, go ahead.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Joseph.
You're welcome.
Okay, so the first one concerning the principle, I can see unity. It's that's in the whole design. There's an harmony. Then also that's the mission. Mission creating superior African brands. So there's the way the logo, the mission, and the creating superior brands are placed. There's unity in contrasting with the yellow background. Then there's hierarchy that's in the creating and superior. You can see hierarchy in the font size. Then contrast is used all over the place because creating superior, that's green on yellow background, then black mission on yellow background. Then emphasis, creating superior is this an emphasis there, focal point. That's they want to really project that what they are selling is a kind of competitively speaking superior to other brands. So and there's a use of white space, so much use of white space.
Yes.
In fact, I think for me that's the beauty of it because it makes it so simple and we can read very well. We don't have to struggle to get what the message they are trying to emphasize. And then for the fundamental, there's a use of square. That's the logo in a square.
And even the margarine is in a shape.
Yes, the shape of the margarine, and even the shape of the bread.
Even the bread.
I should eat it now.
Exactly.
Yes.
Want to eat it now? What? Be going.
I've not
Be
taken
going.
my breakfast, so it looks like, I'm already feeling like when we finish, I go for their products.
I will send you this bread now after the class. I'll send you this bread.
What the person did was brought the image to complement the color that he has already picked. So you wouldn't expect him to pick somebody that is wearing, let's say, a blue, a dark blue, or a red that is going to be different. So what he did was he has picked a color of what he's going to use for the design. Then he picked image that is having color to complement the color. That's so that there will be not too much color on the design that he has already done.
I like where this conversation is going. So let me break it to you. Two things, right? One, in design, anything is possible. I was wearing a red shirt and I wanted it to be green. It can be done. If he was wearing a blue shirt and I want it to be yellow, it can be done. So even if the designer picks the lady and she's wearing black, he can easily change, or she can easily change the lady's clothes to green to fit into the brand. So the idea is the image is edited to fit the design, not that the design is created and the image is being picked to look and fit into, because most times you rarely get the kind of image that you want. Rarely. So for you to make it work, that's where editing comes in. You carry that image that doesn't look like what you want and turn it into what you want. We'll do all of that in the practical classes, right? But right now, just understand that anything is possible in design. Okay? Very much, Mr. Matthew. Adegbenga, all right, go ahead. Go ahead, you can
Thank you,
ransom.
sir. What I noticed about one of the principles that I noticed in both designs has to do with unity. The designer, when it took its time to stick to the color of the company's logo, so which is green, and all the design seen here, so has to do with the family of that same color. So that is one of the principles there. Then, as other people has always also contributed, hierarchy in terms of the words we have there, which is creating superior and quality brands on both flyers, and then white space. So the designer make use of that white space. So then when we talk about the balancing, so everything is well balanced. Then the fundamentals, I would say the texture, when it has to do with the image and the background on the first flyer. So then the shape, when I saw the logo, so of the company, so we have the shape there and some other areas too. So then in whole, balancing is key. So, and I noticed that everything is well balanced. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Okay. I do not think you can hear me. Okay, so we're moving to questions. So all your questions are welcome. You have any you didn't understand in all we've said and all we've shared so far, questions are welcome.
Hello, Mr. Joseph.
Questions? Yes.
Yeah, this
That's
Shego.
you, right?
Yes, this Shego.
All
Okay,
right, go ahead.
if you don't mind, the last that's the last flyer that we talked
Last
about.
image?
Yes, last image. If you can explain balance with it. I just want to,
okay.
In all principle, I get every other one, but that balance, I'm still trying to struggle a bit with it.
Okay. In fact, I like the question, so I'll help you out here.
Thank you.
Also, let me point out something. I've been hearing you people say the designer this, the designer that. The designer that did this flyer you are seeing is me. I'm the one. I'm the one in front of you, right? That's the reason why I can explain them. I can explain other people's design, but yeah. So let me help you with balance. On the first image, you can see that is at the bottom part, while the text is on top, right?
Yes.
That is asymmetrical balance. That is asymmetrical balance used there. The same thing applies on the other image. The text up, the image down, asymmetrically balanced. If I put the images on the left side and the text on the right side, it's also balanced asymmetrically, right? So you can see balance in play, text and image, balance. Another thing you can see in play here is an image background, balance. If this leads So I hope I've answered your question, Shegun. Somebody said, can you
Yes,
explain?
thank you very much. Right.
You're welcome. That's Adebanjo. So can you explain hierarchy? Okay, I'll use the designs that we have on the screen, as you can see. Hierarchy, as most of your classmates mentioned in the other time, is putting elements in order of importance. What do you want them to see first? The first thing I want you to see is FMN, or our mission. But be sure that you see the two of them first. Even though your eye will start which is the logo. The next thing is what? Creating superior brands that inspire consumers every day, right? Then I'm sure the image will now come into play, even though it is big enough for you to see. But it will now be complemented with the text. In some other case, you could actually see the image first because it's always big. And then you see the next text. Like for the second image now, you see the next text. The first thing you will see is quality brands. Then you now start seeing leading food companies, and then vision, and like that. So that's how hierarchy works. It just helps you say, okay, go this direction while you're reading it. Go like this, go this way, like that. So that's for hierarchy. So any more questions? Mr. Machi, go ahead, please.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Joseph. We really appreciate this this wonderful lesson today. when we talked about image and shape concerning the image that we use, I mean, if we go back to the flyers that we shared now, can we say the picture image are constrained to also shape into the box that you are going to be using, and then when you have the FMN into the box and those letters, the way they are shaped and the size. So can we say shape, I mean, the image you are going to use for your graphic design also do with the shape they must come into the design? Or they just have to be in any shape to fit into your design, or they are also under the shape to fit into the design? I don't know if you get the question I'm trying to ask.
Okay, I think what you're trying to ask is, do you create the existing shapes for the image to come in, or the image comes in that existing shape? If I'm correct.
Yes. Yeah, yes.
Okay. So it is as simple as this, right? The images, it's like you take a picture on your phone. If you take it in landscape, the image comes out in what? Landscape. If you take it in portrait, it comes out in portrait, right? So that means that image is in portrait or in landscape. Now, when you want to use that in a design, if your design is portrait and your image is landscape, it means you have to take off some parts of the image. As you can see on the second image here, we cut out part of the image by putting it in this shape that has that curve around it. In the first image on the left, the mother and the boy, you can see that part of the background of the image has been blended into the background of the design. What am I trying to say here is, every element that comes into your design, it is your responsibility to make it work. Because every element in creativity, every element in photography, every element in videography, elements in graphics in general they are sort of the same, right? Because photography is under graphics. I hope you know that. Videography is under graphics. They are on a wide range of topics, right? Not just all these principles, fundamentals, they apply to photography. It means that the average image you find out there and then you carry that image that already has those principles, bring it into your design, and combine it with your text to communicate your message. Helps you, and then you put in one or two principles, and then you're good to go. Do you get? So yeah, Adegbenga, your question. I hope I answered you, Mr. Matthew.
Yes, you did. I got it.
Thank you. Adegbenga, go ahead.
Thank you, sir. My question is just like an observation. I noticed something in the last design you shared. And no, the last one.
This one.
Yes.
All right.
And I noticed when it comes to choosing the right color for some elements. So since you've informed us that those are your designs, so I want to add that I want to ask that was it intentional that you use the color on the, let me say, the dress of one of those people to choose the right background and colors for some elements and shapes? Why am I saying this? The first flyer now, the color of the lady's dress which is like a dark green. So I think that's the colors that blended well with the color of the company's logo and the color that you use when it comes to that the text, which has to do with creating superior. So and I noticed that when it comes to the second flyer as well, the man is wearing something that has to do with lemon, and which means which took us to the background. So that was used as well. So I think with that, you are trying to maintain unity.
The brand's color, right?
So with the so back to my question, that was it intentional? So that is what I'm trying to just.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. I like that question. It's very thoughtful. So like I said, photography is involved in design, and everything you see on this design is planned. This picture you see, the family, is planned. What they are wearing, planned. What they are eating, planned. It's just like you're watching an advert and you see the girl or the guy using close-up. Of course, it was planned, right? Same for this. It was planned that that lady should wear green. It was planned that that man should wear a touch of green, which is the lemon you see. It was planned. Now, that planning makes it easy for the designer to implement a design. In cases where there are no planning, which is like 85% of the time, there are no planning, you get an image and you edit it to what you want. Like I was telling Mr. Machi a few minutes ago. You get an image and you edit it to what you want, right? So it was deliberate for them to wear what they're wearing. It was deliberate. The kitchen, everything was planned. This was a photography session planned before I went into design. But on this other two that you can see here, this guy on a skateboard was not planned because he's wearing brown suit. Or because it's a skateboard, we rarely skate in this part of the world, right? We don't use skateboards, we use the other type. But you get what I'm saying. But I made the image to work because I needed to. But if I had the ability to take a picture of someone skating, I will tell them what to wear and how to look. So that's how it works, right? Okay, Abubakar, go ahead, please.
All right, thanks very much, and I really appreciate your explicit and simple way of passing your information over. It's well explanatory and easy to understand. From your answer to the last two person that asked question, that was where my own question popped up. You talk about all that are under design, and you talk about videography and all that. So I wanted to know, are we also learning video editing here?
Oh no. No, we're not doing that. We'll focus on graphic design.
All right, so thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome. We'll focus on graphic design. I was just trying to explain to you the extended branches or brothers of graphic design. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. Mr. Matthew, go on.
You when you went back to the image that was the guy was standing on the skateboard.
Yes,
I don't know if I heard you, but if he wasn't deliberately standing on the skateboard, that means you have to do Photoshop to put him on the skateboard, right?
Okay, so they are, okay, go on, finish.
So now I also want to bring it down to this building, the one on the right now. Now I am sure these buildings were not existing. So That means if you want to, sorry, those I want to believe that they are not existing. So you have to also be
Go on.
creative to
Of course.
so you have to look for somewhere that is just my question. So I know we'll get there. Maybe we are just jumping, but at least to know that okay, there are like because we are talking about fundamentals. So things that you know, okay, they are giving you a design to give a motivational thing, and so you are not looking at what to do. You don't have a picture of somebody that is standing on a skateboard, and there is a skateboard picture of a skateboard, and you are seeing a man standing. So you have to now put the two on together to marry each other. And to the building too, do you have to design all these things by yourself? Those are my questions.
Okay, so to answer your question is very easy, right? There are most of these things from your question will be shown to you during the practical sessions, right? But for asking, I'll answer. So there are images that are readily available to you. They are what we call stock images. Some are free, some are premium, which means that you have to pay for them. When I mean pay, I'm not talking about paying with your blood and sweat. I'm talking paying with naira and dollars, right? So when you get those images and they fit into what you want, go ahead and use them. If they do not fit into what you want, then you can edit them to fit in. Now, for the property on the right, that is the work of an architect. So an architect does that and does the 3D rendition and sends it to the designer or the company. Then the designer gets to do the designs with image. Do you get? The same way I mentioned earlier that the photographer takes the pictures and puts elements, fundamentals and principles in play. Yes. So it works. So the same thing. Okay. One last question and we'll call it a day. All right. Sunday, go ahead.
All right. Good morning. Thank you for
Good morning.
what you had, sir. So I'm not actually asking a question here. So I saw something and it's kind of catch my attention or caught my attention rather, and I feel like I should it's great job here because I noticed, just like every other one has mentioned, there's something they've noticed. I noticed you kind of the first image here, you kind of make it to the image, you kind of allow it to blend with the word. Why I said that is that, okay, the word is embrace the week ahead with positivity and purpose. And purpose has to do with a journey, discovering purpose. It has to do with the journey. And it seems he's on a skateboard here, journeying towards the coming week, right? With positivity and with a purpose in mind. And then the image, even though he's standing on a skateboard, it was made to appear as if he's actually speeding towards that purpose, because you could see the hand.
Exactly.
Right hand is kind of like I'm sure he's probably not on the skateboard, made to appear as if he's speeding. So when the camera capture an image on motion, on a very fast listening, it will appear like a little rough. And then even below the positivity and even the background seems like he's on his speed. So I like the fact that we're talking about purpose here, and discovering purpose is a journey, and he's speeding towards that purpose. So basically, that's what I noticed here.
Okay, great. All right, thank you, everyone. With that, we'll come to the end of today's session. Thank you for the questions. Thank you for the observations. Thank you for your answers. And thank you for thanking me. So
Thank you.
I'll see you in month.
Thank you, sir.
Same time.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much.
In In the meantime, I'll hand over to my colleague to share you more information as regards to the other class. Thank you very much. Just hold on.
All right. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining in. I hope this training was as productive as I hope we were able to get. Please, let's try to turn on our video. We'd like to see your beautiful faces. All right, thank you, everybody. All right, so I'll just be passing like a quick information. We're going to be dividing you guys into cohorts. The email will be sent out soon before the end of the virtual training or before the end of the virtual class. So please look out and
it has been disabled from your end, sir. Disable from your end.
and also you can miss some part of this section due to probably network issues. So you can go to your WhatsApp, you can go to YouTube to watch the video. The link will be sent out. And also, let's try to invite our friends, our colleagues, or probably anybody that's also joining. Thanks for joining in. We're expecting you guys more.
All right, thank you. I want to ask concerning how we get
Thank you very
material,
much.
that slide that was used.
Sorry, I didn't get your question.
Please, I saw they made mention of we could get the slides. How do we get the slides afterwards?
It will be shared on WhatsApp.
Okay, all right, perfect.
Do we have any other? Sorry, do we have any other questions?
I cannot have video from here. It has been disabled from your end.
Sorry, I didn't get that.
I could not start the video from here. It has been disabled from your end.
There's no how that can happen. Maybe it's your connection, sir.
Start. My video. Yeah.
Your connection. Yeah. Should be a connection.
Okay, so thank you everyone for joining in. Please let's try to join in early tomorrow.
All right, thank you so much.
All right, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Bye bye.
Catch you
Thank you
tomorrow.
so much.
God's willing.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye.
Yeah, bye.
Okay, send the link already.